If Bill is ready, we'll have Bill Skog come on and talk about the campaign. Bill's giving me the thumbs up. So, Bill, take it away, Mr. Bill.
All right, thank you for having me. I think this is, I think, fourth convention. I am so honored to be with everyone, and I'm going to do my best to keep this brief, lighthearted, talk about the campaign, just the general big picture strategies for us, and how you can help the campaign. See, that was my point of levity and being lighthearted. I try my best. I got one more because I'm a prop comedian. Oh, Bob left. I'm sorry, Bob. Herman Cain ran in 2012, did moderately successful running for Republican president. And then they put out an ad where his campaign manager was smoking a cigarette, and it ruined his campaign. So in honor of that, I'm going to have some delicious Sassoon Valley wine, voted by USA Today as the best wine in wine country in America.
Always repping Cali.
Well, with that being said, I want to start out talking about Michael Loeb's campaign for governor. I remember talking with Forbes and saying, can you imagine if we got over 1,000 votes? We got 26,000. And as Forbes was saying before, it's 3 cents per vote. To put into perspective, Gavin Newsom spent $5.50. The Green Party spent $2.50 per vote. We spent 3 cents per vote. To put that into perspective, if we had the same amount of money that the Green Party had, 27,000 to run the campaign, that would have got us 900,000 votes, which does not win us the election, but we are the biggest story in the world the next day. So what is a win for us? We would sure love Forbes to be governor. I think that'd be a better place. But if we beat DSA, if we beat Peace and Freedom, the Libertarians, the Green Party, we are the biggest story in America, if not the world. It is a major statement. I like to make the analogy, if Forbes does well, and we always talk about the national divorce, that would be the equivalent of a spouse getting a Tinder account, where the other party would have to take it seriously. They'd either have to say, screw you, we're getting a divorce, or they would say, you're right, baby, I've been a piece of shit spouse. I'm going to start paying my fair share. I'm going to start being tolerant towards people. I'm going to stop being an insane bigot. We're going to join the rest of the community, the industrialized world. So a victory for us is a lot of things. And the one thing on that I want to talk about, Forbes is going to get, as every third party candidate gets in America with the two-party system, you can't win. It's going to have, it is every reporter without fail, they are programmed to say it. And Forbes is going to run with it. He's going to confuse them and say, as right now, if this election were held today, the mainstream Democrat candidate would probably win by 30 points. But what if instead of winning by 30 points, they won by 25 points? And that 5% went to us. And what if the DSA and the Green Party and Libertarians and Peace and Freedom realized, you really aren't throwing your vote away this time voting for us, because we're sending a major message to the world about California. Forbes is the protest vote, and he is the California first vote. He is both of those at the same time. And that's why we're going to do well. So yeah, an impact of us beating the third parties will change our lives forever. We will be the national, the international news story. We will start getting money. As I joke with some of my friends, Project Mayhem would be funded. Our lives would dramatically change. We could run candidates for assembly, state senate the next time, and have real good chances of winning. So this election is very important. And one thing I have learned from running other campaigns, or not running, but volunteering and working for other campaigns, especially for progressives, is to message progressive policies who appeal to non-progressives. Some of it has been already said by Forbes and I'm sorry, by Lauren. My apologies. Healthcare, universal healthcare saves small businesses money. You know, we don't have to talk about the morality of it. We know in our hearts it's the right thing to do, but there are people who don't care about things like that. They care about the Cato Institute says universal health care will save us money compared to the private insurance we have today. Fact is, we spend twice as much for half the results. So we can take policies like ending homelessness. Homelessness in your neighborhood ruins your property value. It hurts your small business to have homeless people sleeping in front of your small business or encamped there. We can take these progressive values that we have and we can make them appeal to rural and more conservative voters. That's something I think Bernie Sanders did very well in his campaigns. It's why he has such a rural appeal. And that's something Forbes talked about. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on rural communities. That's where we can honestly get the best bang for our buck. I know it seems counterintuitive. You'd think city, larger market, you get more voices, compact. It's way more expensive. In this day, like you can find the right local media person in Inyo County, as Forbes said, and we can win. Imagine us winning a county. Imagine election night, someone who hasn't been paying attention scrolls over that interactive election map and they see Forbes' name in first place and they see how big that land is. We know, I mean, because we're political, we all like politics. We know that, size of the area does not mean the amount of people, but in the back of our minds, it still impresses us. It's like one of those psychological things. So I'm going to try to wrap up, but we're going to talk about how Forbes is going to campaign and how when people ask you questions, you can answer. Forbes is going to focus about his executive orders, because at the end of the day, the governor can either do executive orders, sign in legislation, or do vetoes. Both parties are going to be against an independent who becomes governor. You can look at Jesse Ventura. You can look at any independent governor who's been elected. Both parties, that's when they can unite, is when there's a threat to the two-party system. So Forbes is going to talk about his executive orders on the campaign, and he's going to talk about values. If something were to cross his table that is progressive, that helps people, helps the working class, he's obviously going to sign it. The other thing we're going to talk about with values is no candidates ever talk about how they want to be judged if elected. Forbes is going to talk about, we're going to steal some of the ideas from the Bhutan Happiness Index. Forbes is going to be talking about, judge me not by how our GDP is doing or how stocks are doing. Judge me on graduation rates. Judge me on the homelessness rate. Judge me on, things that really matter to, the average Californian. I'm going to leave with this thought for all of us who are going to volunteer. One of the things that I worked on most in the campaign is how we're going to do the workflow. And I promise anyone that there is a position there for you, and it is not going to be full-time. It's going to be, we're going to put you in a position that you can thrive in and that you're going to enjoy. There is plenty to do in this campaign. I ask of everyone, even if you do not volunteer, let's be the sanest people in the room. And by that, I mean major media, every time they've had someone from Cal Exit on before, they've gone and made an ass of themselves. They've been over the top. They've been angry. They've come off as a lunatic. We need to be the sanest people in the room. If we do that, it makes people, it makes the decision to make a hard decision. I mean, let's be honest. Saying we want California independence was not an easy decision for me. In theory, it was, but it's a major commitment to say that. I know I'm on a list now. To be honest, when you say you want to break up America, that's a big deal. That is a big personal commitment to what you believe in. So be the sanest person in the room. Say things like, we're not just here because Donald Trump is a bad president. We're here because America is too big to be one country. We think mountains and rivers make great borders. Even Ronald Reagan, when he was governor of California, set the EPA standards higher for California because he knew condensed population areas, eastward winds blowing against the Sierras and various mountains is going to cause smog. Even he knew that. He knew that we were a country unto ourselves. You could talk about Thomas Jefferson saying America should have ended at the Rockies. Be the sanest person in the room if you don't feel comfortable talking about California independence, talk about the big picture national divorce. If you don't feel comfortable defending the legality of it, refer it to Theo, to Forbes, to someone you know who has more knowledge on it. So I ask of you just to give our campaign a shot. Like I said, volunteering, even if it's an hour a month, we can use you. So yeah, in conclusion, America stinks, California is great, and let's go Forbes, let's shock the world.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, my friend. And again, we just need every volunteer to help out with us. Again, a little goes a long way. Just remember, again, my, statement about the cafe in Vienna. Again, small groupings have big impacts. And again, if you do join us and actually work with us, get out there. Again, I will say that we will try everything possible, but we know just because the current political system, thanks to the American government, is sort of crap, we always have a gigantic boulder to try to push down. And so we need to make sure that we have our objective clear. We're going to make sure that we actually do everything possible, but also always be sober-minded every second, right? It has to happen. Again, I don't want to raise up people's hopes. I don't want to be a Ralph Nader or Jill Stein, making these noises that like, oh, again, like we'll change the world and we just made it worse, or we did something stupid, or God knows what we're doing. Either way, again, we have to make sure we always have a clear objective. And my clear objective is that if we grow the party to be qualified, we win Inyo County so that they notice that we actually won a county, which no other third party's ever done before. And that's very possible in Inyo County. It is large geographically, but very small population-wise. If we make that happen, we can actually change up and shake up things a lot. But also, too, just as one thing, and again, this is not a disagreement with my own campaign manager, but the one thing I would just say is that this is an emphasis. We don't know where we're going to be in 2026. You don't know how bad it's going to get. It's already pretty bad now. So when that comes around, it could be a sea change all of a sudden, because we do have people under attack by ICE. We do have people, again, rounded up for their political opinions. We do have deportations to strange countries. We do have a lot of nonsense. And we also have the economy on the brink. The check engine light is all over the U.S. economy. SNAP benefits are going to end November 1st. We have a federal government shutdown with no clear end date. So if we're already in the soup now, and also there's noises that we could be invading Venezuela, which you need 100,000 troops for, which you need to have an occupation for. And, the track record for American military victories in the later part of the 20th and, first part of the 21st century is 0.5 maybe, because, it's kind of like a half point, I guess, maybe. Iraq has a government that's allied to us, I guess. But yeah, again, it's just we're not doing well. And again, we get into all that. The economy goes down, SNAP ends, Venezuela, more raids, more increasing tension, election monitors in California that are, going to say no matter what, oh, these elections are fraudulent. Yeah, we're going to have a different ball game by next year. So again, not disputing what my campaign manager said, I would just say that he is correct in the current climate. I would just say that the weather can shift. You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. So that being said, let's take a 2-minute break, and then I'm going to turn it over to the founder of the CNP, Theo Slater, who's going to talk about bioregionalism. So again, 2 minutes and we'll be back.
All right, we're back. Hey, everyone. You guys know me. I've done as many conventions as we've had. So today I'm actually going to talk about bioregionalism and how California can kind of integrate its efforts into some of our friends to the north. So I'll just talk about what I'm up to. So I'm running the California National Party Blue Sky. I'm also, of course, the head of the legal team. And it's been helpful. I've been able to step back quite a bit and prioritize some stuff. Our Blue Sky is doing really well. We're at 14,000 plus followers. So that's been really exciting. My new project is called the California Bioregions Regeneration Council. And what that is going to be is it's going to be, so California, unlike the Pacific Northwest, has several bioregions. So we can't just do the California bioregion because it's 3 or 4 or 4 or 5, somewhere in there. We're going to map it out. So what the California Bioregions Regeneration Council is it's going to be fostering a bioregional development and the development of California's bioregions. And then eventually we're going to spread out into Alta California. So that's going to go all the way because we don't need to use America's borders for our bioregional project. So we're going to be looking at seeding bioregions from California all the way out to Colorado. And I'll get into what a bioregion is and that sort of thing in a moment. But essentially what we're doing is the bioregionalists to our north have figured out how to unlock a lot of funding. And my goal is to try to get to that, get to those income sources, get to that interest. And then also I think there's a really good compatible association between people who want an independent California and then a completely disparate group of people who are really involved in ecology and bioregionalism and so forth, who also want more local control, want the feds to stop kicking in doors and abducting people, but are not as tuned in to the words like nationalism or just our existing audience. So I'm basically just trying to kind of double our audience, get more funding, and then see how we can, use these tools together. I also do think that, and again, I'll get to what bioregionalism is in a moment, but I think that it's a necessary stepping stone to have California independence to pursue bioregionalist goals in this area, because I don't think the US or the feds and that kind of settler colonialist murder empire is going to let us move towards a more sustainable society, move towards a more collaborative society, move towards a more democratic society. They're just going to stomp it, right? So a precursor step to bioregionalism for our area is California independence, because independent California would be way more comfortable with, facilitating of, and collaborative with bioregional efforts. So, all right, what is bioregionalism? Bioregionalism is rooted in the idea that culture stems from place and that human cultures develop in relation to the natural ecosystems they inhabit. So what that means is that you've got river systems, you've got valleys, you've got mountains, and then you have cultures that sort of develop over time to fill those places. And some really obvious examples, Ireland or Scotland, or even the efforts that are going on in the Pacific Northwest are kind of to reconnect with that. But the ancient kingdoms are bioregions, and it's that the culture and the weather and the biographical features of the space, the animals that inhabit it, the food systems, the natural web of life forms the culture of the space. And so that's also happening in California. And you can see how SoCal is different from NorCal, and some of the ways you can look at that are temperatures and rainfall and biographical features. So I'm from Sacramento at this point, and our major river systems are, obviously we've got the Sacramento River, we've got the San Joaquin River Delta, and those kind of create, so I'm from essentially river country, and that's different from the deserts and scrubland of the LA region. And also, of course, I'm from the Central Valley. So there's this river valley culture, river valley people. It's very agricultural. And so that's kind of my, the bioregion that I'm from. And then we've got another bioregion here. We've got a bioregion in the Bay Area. And what we'll have is a bioregion regeneration council will work with these different bioregionalist groupings to coordinate activities, ensure democratic best practices, and then also use the full scale of California to regenerate our bioregions. So that's improving the soil and improving biodiversity and crafting an economy that is sustainable. Because right now our economy is a rapacious death machine that is destroying our planet, choking us on pollution, filling our oceans with trash, plastic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we need to turn that around. And yes, it's not something that only California can solve, but it's, as is so often the case, California can lead the way, because California always invents the future, and that's our purpose. So that's the fundamental. There's also like an anti-colonialist element to this, where we're going to kind of reassess the pre-colonial cultures that were here. How did they solve problems, right? They know how to fire mitigate. They have a lot of ancient practices that are suited to this land, and they have cultures that are suited to this land. So how can we look at their naming practices? How can we look at reinvesting in the peoples who got crushed by American colonialism, who got crushed by Mexican colonialism, Spanish colonialism, and then also the people who came here from all the different places, obviously myself included. And so how do we kind of like reconnect our culture to the land, regenerate our bioregions, and create economic systems that serve the people and serve the environment? And so we get more biodiversity, we get better soil quality, we get better farmland, we get better natural spaces. And so that's the essential project. Why don't we have some questions? Is there any questions?
I'll ask the first. First of all, Theo, thank you for doing this. As you are aware, I joined the CNP, and my original passion was bioregionalism. So I am glad more people getting on board. One thing along those lines, this is something Brandon and I talked about, and it's just an interesting look for you and anyone. Native American tribal maps and bioregionalism maps are almost identical. It, and the other thing, and I think it's very important for California with bioregionalism, is water rights.
Right.
Mapping of bioregions always involves watersheds, and the water is always the focal point of the maps, even more so than change of vegetation.
Right.
It is always water, and California has water issues. So
Right.
I think it's really important for us to embrace bioregionalism, because it really, as Theo eloquently put, it impacts our environment, but especially our water, which I think arguably is probably the biggest crisis in California right now.
Right. Yes, I think that's correct. And yeah, generally bioregional stuff relates to river systems, water systems, because those are, if you look at especially like pre-industrial societies, and even true to today. I mean, if you look at a map of the United States at night, if you east of the Mississippi is way brighter than west of the Mississippi. And that's, that's when there's trains and planes and cars, and like, you wouldn't think this stuff would still matter, but like river systems really define peoples, because water is life. And I think Bill's making an excellent point alluding to that. And yeah, so essentially I'm starting this project with the help of Cascadia, and one of their key people, Susan Fines, she moved to West Sacramento. So we're going to be, we'll probably have a conference in a year or two, just getting all the stakeholders. But I also want to reassure everyone that I want this to work hand in glove with efforts that we've all worked for 10 years. And we're on the same page there. This won't be taking away from, it will be finding new audiences and new funding sources and new people who wouldn't necessarily be excited about a party, a political party, or anyone who's involved with the word nationalism, et cetera, which I mean, I'm comfortable with, obviously, having helped name the CNP. But so we're just looking for, like, how do we branch this out? How do we get like ecologists and culture people? And also the great thing about bioregionalism is it really focuses on, it's kind of like a fractal thing where you get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then those units combine, and those units combine, and those units combine. So people who are really into like local stuff, bioregionalism is here for those people, because it's about creating kind of radically democratic small units at the smallest possible unit, because that's where the action is. That's where the soil is being depleted. That's where the pollution is occurring. That's where we're degrading our natural systems. And also, if you look at culture and natural basis, culture and natural systems as being connected, then pollution doesn't just hurt people, it hurts the culture. It holds the whole culture back. And lead paint or any toxin that harms a community harms its culture. And so we're really looking at kind of a holistic approach of making the economy not just benefit the many versus the few, but benefit the natural spaces that maintain our world, that keep us alive, that grow our food, that kind of thing. So I'm super excited about it. I've been talking to Brandon about, like, they have more funding than Brandon is a full-time employee, so of his own organization. So I don't expect to immediately have that kind of funding, but they've been able to unlock concerned people. And honestly, the bioregionalist idea originated in Northern California. If you want an early primer, you can read Ecotopia, which is essentially where bioregionalism and independent California kind of come together and meet, because the story is about not just bioregionalism, but also an independent entity on the West Coast that occupies a lot of the land that California occupies. So from the very roots of bioregionalism, the ideas of a more independent space for the West Coast is already there. So we're really on the same page with these guys. And I'm also a good bridge because, Brandon's from Seattle. I'm originally from Seattle. They're more and more and more. I mean, it's going to be helpful, not just because we can reach new audiences, but also we can kind of unite. We can get the efforts of the northern part of the West Coast and the southern part of the West Coast to be operating as maybe even like a two-cylinder engine, right? And that makes it easier for both of us to succeed. So I think there's just a lot of synergies, not just between bioregionalism and California independence, but just the most active bioregionalist entity and our efforts can coordinate in ways that'll be helpful for everyone. So somebody's got to have questions about what bioregionalism is, because it took me a couple of years to even figure that out. So any questions you guys have, I can maybe answer. Yeah, go for it.
I guess it's not so much strictly bioregionalism, but are the other, especially Northwest states, doing things similar to CNP on their own?
Okay, so sort of yes and no. It's really interesting. One of the things that's really interesting about Cascadia versus our efforts is that we're a lot more overtly political and they're a lot more cultural. So like if you go to a Sounders game, occasionally they will wave an enormous Cascadia flag, an absolutely enormous Cascadia flag. And there's also, there's a soccer tournament for unrepresented states. So that's sort of like states that are under the control of other empires and so forth. And they're in that tournament. They field the team for that. They also have a yearly festival that at least 5,000 to 10,000 people go to. So what they're really good at and what they've really penetrated is cultural penetration. And if you look up, I've got Brandon's little packet here. If you go to department dptof.bioregion.org, I'll just put that up there, the bottom of the page there. Yeah, we'll show you everything they're doing in their Cascadia bioregion. And what they're trying to create is a network of bioregionalist entities. And that's why they're excited about me helping them get things off the ground here. So they essentially want a network of bioregionalist entities that spans the world. And then they see it as like the next development past nationalism is bioregionalism, so that we don't need wars anymore. And we've retuned our economies so that they're in tune with the needs of our natural systems, so that we're not like poisoning our children. So there's a lot of synergies, especially between the California National Party, and we've been friendly with them for a really long time. I met with Brandon in person several times. And then just the last time I was up there, I was like, I should just I should just launch a bioregional entity in California, and then we can just start working together directly, and then have a good bridge between us and the CNP. And then, I mean, I want every single person who's interested in bioregionalism to vote for Sean Forbes, right? Like, and there's no reason why we can't have that kind of collaborative approach. And it's also just really different audiences, because we probably don't have any ecologists on this call, right? Like, we probably don't have any farmers who are trying to get away from pesticides, or people who are really interested in river cleanups. Like, I mean, maybe some of you are, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, I think that this is a great opportunity. And then one of the problems we've persistently had in the CNP is just not having great funding resources. And if I can unlock that for bioregionalism, I might also be able to say, well, also, while you're at it, why don't you just have this phone call with Sean Forbes? And then we might be able to solve both these problems at the same time.
I'm sorry, but I've heard, I keep hearing about bioregionalism and about water rights and about all this kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, but coming from Southern California, basically every time I hear it, this is literally we can now make these divisions, and then we can pretty much just cut off LA's water. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I'm very well, I mean, and what I say to them, and I used to be a little more adversarial with these guys, right? Because they're like, well, the Klamath River Basin, that's part of our bioregion. And what I say is, look, we've got 40 million people, and they're going to need water. And if you take away our water, then we're going to come for your water. So like, you can't, there's no practical, the water must flow. And I think there's some better ways to get LA its water than a hundreds of mile long canal that has no cover, that's getting pesticides going into it, that's evaporating away. I think there's a lot better ways of getting water to LA. But I think everyone agrees, if you stop getting water to LA, then you suddenly have 8 to 9 million refugees, and they're going to go somewhere. So I don't think anyone who thinks about it wants to do that. And certainly that's not part of our conversation. A council of bioregions is about getting the needs of the various bioregions that make up the council met in a holistic and circular way. So, how do we create mutually beneficial systems that protect our natural environment and ensure that LA gets the water that it needs? There's no question in my mind about that.
I mean, I would argue that we could also talk about economic regionalism too. Now, despite the plethora of tech billionaires in Silicon Valley, LA itself makes up almost 40% of California's economy. And it's one of those.
Yeah.
As people say, LA takes your water, but if you come from LA, you argue back. It's like, well, yeah, but we pave your roads, and we build your schools. And of course the computer you're arguing with me on probably came through our LA ports. So, I believe that bioregionalism. I mean, from my studies on the subject, there are 5 major separate bioregions in California itself. And breaking that down, there's something like 20 individual bioregions inside of most of those bioregions.
Yeah, those are the ecoregions. And then inside of those are the kind of like water systems, watersheds, that kind of thing. So, but what I want to assure you, so I mean, look, I lived in LA. I went to college near LA. I lived in LA. I lived in North Hollywood. I love LA. I'm in LA right now. I'm in Long Beach, but I'm staying with my friend in Hollywood. Like, I am very invested in the continued prosperity of the Los Angeles region, and it's a city that is irreplaceable to our culture, and it is so definitely. I think me being the person who is planting the first seeds of this for California in concert with our friends to the north will address your concerns, because I really love this city and I come here all the time, and it's vital to our California identity to continue to export the dreams of the world. That's how we invent the future. Silicon Valley and Los Angeles invent the future, and then we pump it out to the world through Hollywood, through video games that we put out, through our culture. We have an incredibly persuasive and powerful culture, and LA is the center of that. So definitely this is not about taking away anything from anyone. It's how do we meet the needs of the people, meet the needs of our natural spaces, and then also get down to getting greater and greater autonomy and greater democracy, so that we're no longer the boot of this rampaging imperialist settler colonialist power that inflicts terror and fear and death upon the world. So anyway, I think we're on the same page, and nothing about this project is about taking away from anyone.
It's always been my kind of job here to punch. So
I want it. I need hard questions. The more questions, the better.
good to see you, Theo.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thanks for letting me be part of this. I love this project. I love the Californian Party, and we're gonna keep moving everything forward in all the ways that we can, outside the box, inside the box, and we'll keep moving forward. And everyone vote for Sean Forbes. And I guess my time is up. So
wait, Theo, can I ask a question?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Just because you jumped into with Hal's comment, you jumped into an area that I know a lot about, and I had a question for you. So you said kind of having a more like symbiotic, fair system with bioregionalism. So on the issue of water, would that mean what does that look like in practice? Like as a system, does it look like maybe economic support, compensation? What is the give and take? Like if
Right.
for instance, my area, Inyo County, is a water exporter.
Right.
So, and obviously
Right.
a lot of people know the history of that, and it's very one-sided. We really don't get anything for that. So
Right.
what does that look like for people in these areas?
Right. Do you think that value for any bioregional system or system of bioregions is getting back to more equitable relationships? So I would definitely not want to talk about anyone losing, but if there is some ways that compensation can be better allocated so that there's because the imperialism of Los Angeles County in relationship to some of the counties around it mirrors the imperialism of the United States towards Mexico or various other coercive, theft-oriented settler colonialist crimes that have occurred on the North American continent since 1492. So, how we can get all of the regions of California getting a fair deal doesn't have to. I mean, there is also enormous wealth in the LA region, and it's mostly flowing into the pockets of 1,000 people. So there's definitely ways of compensating Inyo County, for example, better in ways that will get them to a better place and also regenerate their ecoregion, because that's an important. All of these ecoregions are interconnected, and like over the long run, we need to collaborate, combine, and regenerate. So that's how I would answer that. But Forbes has given me a bunch of signals about time, so I gotta go. We will talk about this again. You can always email me at theoslater@gmail.com. Talk to me about this. If you've got any legal problems, talk to me about that. And let's build this California nation. All right. Thanks, Forbes. Okay, thank you.
So again, we have Michelle from Free the Bern.
Okay, so hey everyone, I'm Michelle from Feel the Bern, San Fernando Valley. That's where we're located, in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles. I met Sean at a independent forum that we've collaborated with several organizations to start doing. And we will be having an in-person one in January. So I met him through there and was just floored by everything that he talked about. I've had a chance to be on and off listening to what you guys have been saying because we're having an event tonight. So I'm trying to get prepared for that. So anyway, we are a grassroots organization in the Valley, and we serve communities across Los Angeles, building working class power block by block. We were born out of Bernie Sanders' political revolution, and our core mission is simple and urgent. Get money out of politics and return power to the people. And to do that, we operate using a clear and powerful three-part strategy. One is combined action with organizations. We don't just show up to one-day actions. We build coalitions that challenge corporate-driven politics consistently and collectively. We empower and educate communities through teach-ins, mutual aid, town halls, and political education. We give working people the tools to understand systems and fight back. And we endorse corporate-free candidates, whether inside or outside the party system, that take no corporate money. We do not want any more billionaire bosses. We used to be a Democratic club. We tried working inside the party to pull it toward working class interests, but of course, we realized pretty quickly that that wasn't going to work. The party takes millions from corporate donors and bows down to them every day. The Democratic club structures within the party operate like gatekeepers. You pay dues to participate and you follow strict rules. You can't endorse independent candidates, even if they fight harder for working people than most Democrats. And corporate war hawks are often uplifted over grassroots working class voices. So yeah, we made the decision to leave about a year ago, before the election. Pretty much when they brought Liz Cheney on stage, that topped the cake for us. We were just like done. And then just yesterday, we saw how it played out again with Hakeem Jeffries stalled for weeks before finally endorsing Zohran Mamdani, a working class frontrunner, only after public pressure made it politically unavoidable. You can practically feel the donors biting their nails on this. And then Hillary Clinton endorsed Andrew Cuomo, a man drenched in donor money and accused of sexual harassment, instead of siding with the people-powered movement. And then I can go on and on about the Democratic Party. So again, we left and decided to be like Bernie and work outside the Democratic Party. And we believe that we are not in a democracy, we are in an oligarchy. And we're doing everything to fight that oligarchy. So yeah, that's pretty much who we are. And one of our biggest campaigns right now that we are working on is CalCare, which is guaranteed healthcare for all in California, which Newsom promised us before he was elected. And CalCare is coming to the floor again next year. So we are in a coalition called CUSP, California United for Single Payer, where we are bringing together all organizations up and down California that want single payer, and we are going to make sure that we get it to Gavin's desk and that he signs it. And if he doesn't, then we're going to move to a ballot initiative. That is the primary thing we are working on right now. Personally, I'm down with everything you guys are talking about. It's on a personal level. I can no longer stand the way things are going. I also believe that this has been designed since the 70s, since the Powell memo came into effect from the Heritage Foundation. I believe that so many people are uneducated as to what's going on right now. And that it is our primary responsibility to get out and empower the people through knowledge, especially the young people. And that's why we have events that draw young people in, and we combine arts with our actions so that we can bring young people into the movement. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Just want to say this. Thank you so much for spending the time. And again, I really do feel like we're on the same level and same wavelength, because we share all these issues. And again, we've seen the failures of trying to work through the system and try to reform. We've seen, again, like some lost opportunities over the years. And I think we want to put a stop to that. So again, I really appreciate this.
Tell you a story about my personal self. I
Sure.
worked in healthcare insurance for over 25 years. Started out in HealthNet and moved to United Healthcare. For the last 10 years, I worked in healthcare insurance. My kids were on Medi-Cal. So the taxpayers were subsidizing the healthcare for my children while I was working in the healthcare industry. I talked to Gavin about this several times. I bird dog Gavin at his rallies. I've went to his phone bank and offered him a CalCare t-shirt and told him that if he does give California guaranteed healthcare for all, he will be the next president. I've done everything to try, and me along with several other people. And I don't think it's going to happen. I do think if it got to his desk, he might be forced to sign it. But in all actuality, it moves through him anyway. The bill is pushed by him anyway. So people might say, oh, well, this person, Buffy Wicks, she's the gatekeeper. No, he primarily pushes it through. So he makes the call of whether it passes or not. And yeah, I also think that this healthcare movement can be the movement to start a general strike, which I think we definitely need right now.
I got a question. In 2018, so we're a direct democracy here in California. I mean, the voters, the constituents can actually put something on the ballot. And we did that in 2018 with the nurses union. We got universal health care on, it's supposed to be on the ballot to vote because we had got enough signatures. State legislatures shelved it with Anthony Rendon and Kevin DeLeon and all those guys back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it couldn't even make it to the governor's office. I mean, how? I don't get it. I don't understand how they could just do that. I mean, isn't that against the state rules and laws of how we go about like democracy? I mean, because we wanted it on the ballot. Why wasn't it on the ballot?
Donors. I mean, what can I tell you? CEOs of health insurance companies. They are never going to let this pass. The last CEO of United Healthcare, David Wickman, left United Healthcare with $100 million balloon payment. I mean, another really, really sad thing, and I deal with this on a daily basis, is the whole entire time I worked in healthcare insurance, I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit for anybody. I didn't help anybody's healthcare. It was all administrative work that makes there is no
So
even reason for it to even be there. I mean,
there's rumors of Kaiser Permanente being the role model for universal healthcare in California. Is there any truth to that, or is that
no? I mean,
goddamn?
in my opinion, no. That's this whole game being played by Michael Leidy, he works for NUHW. So it's this whole thing with the nurses, NUHW, and Michael Leidy not wanting to push or wanting to use CalCare as the model for single payer because he's in bed with he's in bed with the Kaiser CEO. So it's all has to do with money. And it's insane. This healthcare system is insane.
So the law, is it lobby money? Is that what it is? Is it campaign financing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Well, I mean, that's again, we have to again be independent of all those interests at this point. And again, under the current U.S. system, I just don't see that being a logical change. The constitutional arrangement is not going to happen. So again, if we're declaring independence from D.C., if that becomes the ultimate, and we have to declare independence from Wall Street at the same time too, because again, they're always going to be hovering around like ghouls, just sucking up the wealth and just causing trouble for people. I mean, that's the ugliness of the system, and I don't want to be part of that system anymore. So again, like we have to start the fight here. And then also you mentioned general strike. Yeah, I think the next California governor, if they actually take their job seriously, should organize it. Imagine the resources of the state. They actually organize a general strike here, especially with the Port of Long Beach, Port of Los Angeles being the jugular vein of the entire economy, U.S. economy. So thank you so much, Michelle. I really do appreciate
Just to give you a statistic really quick. So in Pacoima, which is one of our poorest communities in the San Fernando Valley, 16,667 people have no health insurance at all. There's 100,000 people in that community. So it's 1 out of every 6 people has no health insurance. It's just,
it's criminal.
and I don't know if you guys have ever checked the prices of the ACA. Now they have gone down, but no one can afford it. No one can afford the ACA that's living in poverty.
No.
And right now they're afraid to get Medi-Cal because of the situation that we're going through, you know what I mean, with ICE and everything like that. So it's just getting worse and worse as the days go on. And then there's another question I wanted to ask you all. Are you aware of this AI bubble that's occurring? And what do you think about it?
I would say that I'm very aware of that AI bubble. I mean, again, everything's kind of pointing towards that this is the end of the 20s. This is going to be a replication or duplication, whatever you call it, of again, the Great Depression. Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot about this. I mean, again, the check engine lights are all over the economy when it comes to, people's mortgages, too many sellers, not enough buyers for houses, when it comes to just wages keeping up, inflation, et cetera, et cetera. Also, get the lies about inflation. It's much worse than we think. Yeah, I think we're heading towards, down the road to a real extreme blow up. And when that happens, again, God help us all, because that would be catastrophic. And again, there was the one quote I remember, it's if you took away AI productivity, the economy only grew 0.1%, something like that. So yeah, again, that blows up, which it will, because again, the AI is screwing up in a lot of ways. They take it back, it's overvalued. It's like the .com on steroids. Plus, also, we didn't really figure out the mortgage issue either. I mean, that's already a problem as well. So again, I think that definitely we're going to hit that. When that hits the fan, yeah, then we need to have a new economic system, because there's no reason or rationale to live through the 1930s all over again, because we're already on the cusp of fascism, and you want to supercharge all these right-wing movements over the wall already. Yeah, but I mean, really, again, scarier people than even Trump are out in the woodwork. And you want to pour jet fuel on their issue, because again, there is worse creature than Trump. Trump is a crook. Let's remember always this: he's a fascist light. He's a kleptocrat. He's the commander in thief. He is the one. He's just will steal everything that's not nailed down. But he's not 100% the right. He's bad news, but also he's dealable with. If we actually had a real, the Fuhrer come back from the grave, and we had a Great Depression in this country, that's really, oh God. So, but again, Trump is at least doable at this point. This is, we're in a cycle of history. Again, Marx said, everything runs in twos. The first time is a tragedy, second time is a farce. We're in the farcical, stupid version of the Nazi takeover. This is again this is a Mel Brooks comedy come to life, except with a darker edge.
And I know. Do you know who Russell Vought is? The guy. Yeah.
The OMB, and then also the writer of Project 2025. Yeah. Again, he is again one of the people that we say is kind of an indirect cheerleader for us, because when they get out there, then people come to CNP. Kind of like Trump, they're the best recruiters for us. So.
Ma'am, I suggest you look into California independence a little bit more, ma'am. It's definitely a way out of this mess.
Thank you, Shankar.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you, Michelle, again. We'll take another about 2-minute break.